a superhero team's second-in-command launches an internal investigation after their fearless leader, Marvelous Man, takes his own life on live television. Hello, it's Nacho here. Welcome back. During World War III, an alien named Marvelous Man saved humanity by destroying weapons of mass destruction and persuading people to cease fighting, ushering in an era of world peace. However, secret forces were always working against him, planning to exploit his power and unravel the peace he had created. 40 years later, a broadcaster, Van Dawson, informs the public about the upcoming 40th anniversary of Marvelous Man Day. One viewer is the Speed, a colleague with extraordinary velocity, and a loyal teammate who deeply admired Marvelous Man. Shortly after, Marvelous Man delivers his annual speech from the Citadel of Justice, reflecting on 4 decades of safeguarding humanity. He shares his deep emotional emptiness, admitting that when he closes his eyes, he only hears the desperate pleas of people needing his help. Seconds later, in a shocking moment that leaves the world stunned, Marvelous Man tragically ends his life on live television, leaving many unanswered questions. A caltronite bullet, an element known to be his only weakness. After Marvelous Man's demise, President Nick Newpem assures the nation that America will uphold the hero's legacy. He promises to prevent the threat of nuclear escalation and asserts that the country will continue to instill fear in its enemies without the hero's presence. Despite the president's motivational address, the news of Marvelous Man's loss plunges the entire world into a state of panic. The absence of their beloved hero causes people to experience a profound loss of hope. In a subsequent interview, Van Dawson speaks with Lara Lewis, Marvelous Man's widow, who strongly believes that someone else was responsible for her husband's death. Hearing this, Van Dawson calls out to Nighthawk, Marvelous Man's trusted lieutenant, to shed light on the situation. In 1960, Nighthawk fought against the crime kingpin, the Demander. As Nighthawk engaged with the criminal, Marvelous Man suddenly appeared, saving him with his laser eyes to defeat their enemy. This event marked the beginning of their friendship and the formation of the Guardians of Justice. In the wake of his friend's demise, Nighthawk rallies the remaining members of the Guardians. The team includes King Tsunami, the formidable ruler of the oceans, the Speed, renowned for being faster than Marvelous Man, Golden Goddess, a regal figure with extraordinary powers, Awesome Man, who wields the might of 7 gods through a magical word, Blue Scream, a skilled sonic screamer, and Black Bow, an expert marksman. During the meeting, Nighthawk addresses his team, emphasizing the existence of a dangerous power vacuum that threatens to tear the world apart. He stresses the urgency of their mission to prevent its catastrophic consequences. However, Blue Scream questions how they can stop it when their combined powers fall short of matching Marvelous Man's abilities. The statement ignites an argument between him and King Tsunami until Nighthawk scolds them, reminding them of their common goal. He then inspires the group to unite and work as a team. With that, Nighthawk assigns Golden Goddess to neutralize a squadron of cyborg T-Rexes in Syria, while Awesome Man, with the assistance of Hawk drones, will save people trapped in a massive mudslide in Thailand. Then, Nighthawk entrusts the Speed with transporting Blue Screen to Los Angeles. Their task is to extinguish the fires ignited by individuals under the influence of the illicit substance known as a mellow devil, which induces a state of mental instability. Just before the Speed sets off on her mission, Nighthawk reminds her to return promptly after safely delivering Blue Screen, because she'll have to transport Black Bow to Peru. However, she expresses her frustration for feeling relegated as a mere delivery person. Nighthawk just reminds her that she is what the team needs. Before Nighthawk can assign King Tsunami to rescue a hijacked submarine in New Zealand, they're interrupted by a call from Addison Walker. The woman runs a global private military company concerned with economic stability. Funded by multiple corporations, Addison mentions that Marvelous Man was actively involved in preventing nuclear war. Similar to Laura's belief, she suspects foul play in the hero's demise and directs Nighthawk to investigate within the ranks of the Guardians themselves. Addison asserts that Nighthawk must uncover the truth behind Marvelous Man's death. She threatens that if he doesn't comply, she'll arrest him or one of the Guardians and declare martial law worldwide. Meanwhile, 2 police officers investigate a crime scene in an alleyway, where they discover a collection of lifeless bodies arranged in a macabre formation resembling a smiley face. Later, the chief constable arrives and instructs one of the officers to load the imprisoned women they found into a truck. He intends to present them to a therapist monk named Dr. Ravencroft, who expressed interest in purchasing them. Meanwhile, Mr. Smiles, the one responsible for the bodies in the alleyway, infiltrates the police department located in Carnegie City. With chilling efficiency, he eliminates both the police officers and the commissioner. During Nighthawk's investigation, he obtains the caltronite bullet used in the incident. The unique element, caltronite, originates from Marvelous Man's home planet Caltron. The bullet itself was manufactured by Lockwood Industries, a company owned by Logan Lockwood, whose disdain for Marvelous Man is public knowledge. He admits to creating the bullet, but he never anticipated that the hero would use it on himself. 10 years prior, Lockwood invested a substantial amount of money in synthesizing a caltronite meteor into a single bullet, which he ominously dubbed a Godkiller. Despite its name, he insists that the bullet was made strictly as a contingency plan. To interrogate Logan, Nighthawk fearlessly infiltrates Lockwood Tower, swiftly incapacitating the henchman in his path. After successfully apprehending Logan, Nighthawk questions him about Marvelous Man's demise. However, their conversation is interrupted by a call from Speed, urgently requesting a team meeting. Ignoring the call, Nighthawk shuts off the communication device and turns his attention back to Logan. The man reveals that, a few days before the hero's death, there was a break-in at his armory where he stored the infamous Godkiller bullet. Upon hearing this, Nighthawk's mind races as he ponders the identity of the culprit from within the Guardians. While Speed meditates, Hawk calls her and agrees to set up a team meeting at the Hawk's Nest, because the Citadel of Justice is still considered an active crime scene. Nighthawk then retrieves the security footage from the tower, intent on conducting a thorough investigation to determine the identity of the thief who stole the Godkiller bullet. During the team meeting, Nighthawk addresses the Guardians, conveying his intention to interview each of them regarding their relationship with Marvelous Man. He then swiftly transitions the focus to their assigned missions, commanding everyone to depart and carry out their respective tasks. As the rest of the team departs, Speed momentarily stays behind, voicing her opinion that the absence of Marvelous Man doesn't automatically grant the lieutenant absolute authority. Meanwhile, an Era broadcaster interviews Laura, during which she reveals that her husband was seeing a therapist. This revelation sparks widespread curiosity and raises questions as to why a celebrated hero would require therapy. Subsequently, Marvelous Man's psychiatrist is revealed to be Dr. Ravencroft, who shamelessly capitalizes on the hero's tragic demise by publishing a book detailing his patient's mental health. Meanwhile, one of Hawk's apprentices named Little Wing, the sole survivor of a massacre who embraced the path of becoming a hero, undergoes intensive training. Despite his young appearance, Little Wing possesses an indomitable spirit similar to a fearless warrior. Before paying a visit to Dr. Ravencroft, Nighthawk decides to take Little Wing along, ensuring that he's prepared to unleash his unique abilities if the need arises. At the psychiatrist's den, Hawk is confronted by Dr. Ravencroft's formidable translator. Without hesitation, however, Little Wing swiftly subdues the man. Now alone with the heroes, the therapist discloses that Marvelous Man harbored a deep fear of Hawk's dark nature. This doesn't deter Nighthawk, who instead hints that this should make the therapist fear him further. He then threatens to expose Dr. Ravencroft's illicit purchase of pristine women and unleash the full potential of Little Wing against him. In exchange for their silence, Hawk demands that the psychiatrist immediately withdraw his books from the market and surrender all data about his famous patient. After hearing the ultimatum, the doctor confesses that he only treated Marvelous Man on one occasion. During that session, the hero passionately ranted about the illicit substance known as Mellow Devil. Dr. Ravencroft reveals that he didn't write the book but was paid by Logan to pretend to be its author. Logan's motive was to make people believe that the hero took his own life due to overwhelming public adoration. With their deal set, the therapist soon pulls the books from circulation. However, Mr. Smiles ends Dr. Ravencroft's life right after. Unsatisfied with his investigation, Nighthawk seeks the assistance of his former protege Red Talon, who currently works for the president. However, to his disappointment, Red Talon declines the request. Facing a lack of support, the hero reminisces about the actions he took following his colleague's death. He recalls 3 crucial steps he made: locking down the Citadel of Justice, safeguarding Marvelous Man's body in the Hawk's Nest, and securing the Cortex, a vital resource that he believes holds the key to unraveling the truth behind his colleague's demise. Taking matters into his own hands, Nighthawk activates the Cortex and uploads the valuable schematics and footage from Lockwood Tower. He instructs the supercomputer to identify the individual possessing the necessary skills and powers to bypass Lockwood's security measures. Shortly after, Cortex highlights the notorious bank robber known as Motion Blur, renowned for his incredible maximum speed of 4,000 kilometers per hour. Recognizing the similarities between Motion Blur and the Speed's abilities, Hawk swiftly contacts the latter, whom he considers his second suspect, and assigns her to track down the bank robber. Meanwhile, in the aftermath of Marvelous Man's demise, the menacing Anubis group, under the command of the ruthless Anubis Queen, re-emerges as a significant threat to global security. In response to their threats, President Newcomb issues a televised address, asserting that the United States possesses the necessary capabilities to effectively handle the situation. However, unbeknownst to him, Premier Boris Smirnov of the Soviet Union is among the viewers, who secretly devises a plan for a preemptive strike against the United States. Meanwhile, Hawk activates the Cortex, but his efforts to locate Motion Blur prove futile. The supercomputer reveals that Motion Blur's heat signature cannot be tracked, suggesting that he has refrained from utilizing his superhuman speed. With that, Hawk deduces that Motion Blur is hiding and hopes that the Speed can locate him. However, when the older man contacts the Guardians, the Speed confronts him about investigating them, saying that his leadership is undermining the team. Shockingly, their team's internal issues have reached national media, leading the citizens to think that the Guardians don't trust each other. Because of this, Hawk theorizes that Addison deliberately leaked the information to tarnish the team's image. Later, during a live broadcast, the Anubis group successfully infiltrates Van Dawson's studio and tragically ends the host's life. They then broadcast their message to the entire world. Meanwhile, in the White House, Red Talon delivers a report to the president, revealing that Sepia Spider has been dispatched to infiltrate the Anubis headquarters. After successfully locating the Anubis compound, Sepia Spider contacts Red Talon to update. However, when Red Talon advises him to return to America, the young hero insists on confronting the group alone, disregarding the potential risks. With his agile spider-like movements and the assistance of his sidekick, Sepia Spider manages to incapacitate several members of the Anubis group. However, as he approaches Anubis Queen's lair, the woman stuns and shoots him. She then captures and restrains the wounded hero, broadcasting his execution on live television. After witnessing the event, the Speed offers to infiltrate the Anubis compound and eliminate the dangerous enemy. However, Hawk intervenes, emphasizing that it's the government's responsibility to handle the Anubis group and they shouldn't get involved in political matters. Then he tells the Speed to smile more if she wants to go further in life, which only infuriates his colleague. Shortly after, the older man ascends to a rooftop where he observes two men engaged in a Mellow Devil transaction. Spotting the luminous violet substance on the ground, he cautiously collects a sample. Later in the Hawk's Nest, the hero speaks with Red Talon and learns that the president intends to launch a nuclear strike against the Anubis group. However, Hawk expresses his strong disapproval of this plan. He proposes a different approach, emphasizing the importance of portraying a strong image of America. They should demonstrate their resilience against the extremists, and he hints that Red Talon is the man for the job. Inspired, Red Talon soon successfully defeats the Anubis members on live television. While watching this, the Speed suspects that Hawk is using this event to shift the public's attention away from his internal investigation of the Guardians. Tragically, Red Talon's life comes to an end due to an explosive device, so Hawk summons Little Wing for assistance. Meanwhile, the president orders the missile launch, resulting in the destruction of the Taj Mahal and demonstrating the country's imposing presence. In response to the missile attack, Boris instructs his aides to mobilize troops in Canada and prepare rockets and nuclear warheads. Grieving the loss of Red Talon, whom he had taken in and cared for like a son, Hawk is confronted by Alex. Alex reminds him that she also played a role in raising Red Talon, and criticizes Hawk for allowing their protege to be captured by their enemies. When Little Wing soon enters the Anubis compound, he easily defeats the members of the group using his incredible skills. The boy takes down General Orsted and swiftly eliminates Anubis Queen, causing the countries to withdraw their alliance with a dangerous organization. Nevertheless, the surviving Anubis group televises their declaration that they will never be defeated. They then reveal to the public that Hawk is merely using the current situation as a diversion to prevent the truth from emerging, that the Guardians of Justice are actually responsible for Marvelous Man's death. Thanks for watching Nacho's movie recaps. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and hit the bell for updates. Share your thoughts or requests in the comments below. See you next time.